What's up, icons? I'm the iconic fashion figure back with a new video. So this week's video is going to be the start of designing your own line. And for this video, I decided instead of just going step by step and jumping into it, I'm first going to record this video and tell you all the steps and just show you my example from when I originally did it. That way any of you that don't want to go in depth of every step and just want to know all the individual steps, this video will be for you. And then you can go off on your own and do what you need to do. Join us if there's specific steps you get stuck on. And then for everyone else, I'll definitely be breaking this down by video and going more in depth of each step so that way you guys can watch the videos as you design. Some people may want to start with sourcing, like sourcing their suppliers, sourcing the fabrics and everything. But I actually designed my line, made all the sketches and everything, and put it together as a presentation so that way when I went to go find my supplier, the one that will be manufacturing everything for me, I had a full presentation of what I can take to them to show them physically what it is that I wanted. You can do it that way, or you can source first and then design, your choice, but I'm just going to tell you how I did it. So the first thing that I started with was basically just finding my inspiration for my collection. Now this was fall winter of 2018, so this was 2 years ago. I just sourced out my inspiration, which I will do a video on where to go to find your inspiration for your collection, especially when you get stuck and you need more ideas. I know there was one of our icons that did request that video anyway, so that's definitely on the list. But that was my first step, just to get my brain going, get some ideas flowing. I did my inspiration board to figure out what I wanted to do for fall. This part is actually last, but I put it towards the front of the presentation for when I show the suppliers. So this is basically not the actual fabrics chosen, but this was an idea of fabrics that I wanted to use for the collection. I actually did this page after I created my designs. Once I created the designs, it was like, okay, I need to figure out what fabrics I wanted to use, because that also helps you with what factories you go with, because a lot of the factories specialize in specific areas. So if there's a factory that does denim, they most likely don't do sweaters, and chances are you don't want them to do that for you. But I'll go more in depth of that information once I get to the sourcing video. And then from there, I picked out all my colors. Now, colors is key. It might seem simple, but you definitely want to pick out your colors in the beginning that you want to use, because it helps you make a cohesive collection. So it looks like everything belongs together and you're not just, how can I say this? You're not just throwing things together and saying it's a collection. It actually looks like a brand. So like with my collection, I have 3 rows of colors. I think there's a glitter coming off the plastic, but the top colors you can see are more muted, neutral tone colors. That was like the intro into fall, the beginning. And then you have like the bright, vibrant colors. That was more for like holiday time, and like holiday dresses, New Year's, those things. And then the darker colors were more going into winter, because you have to think about it by delivery. So you have fall, September, October, and partially November. Then you have holidays like November, December, and then December and January you have winter. And then along with my colors, I used to give all my colors color names. Now I don't bother. But then I also put the Pantone number, because the factories need something to reference for the color to be able to get close to the color that you need, which I'll show you fabrics. So actually, let me just show it now. So for example, when you get to the point of actually designing and trying to sample your products, I'll go more in depth of this. But they're going to try to match the color as closely as possible, and it'll be based off the Pantone number you give them, and then you have to choose the color that is more of what you're looking for. Now on camera they probably all look the same, and a lot of times to the naked eye they all look the same, but if you look at all 3 of these colors, under like natural lighting or sunlight, you can see a slight difference and you'll want to pick your color that works for you. But that is later down the line once you get to sampling. So again, I'll go more in depth of that information. But once you pick out like your colors and everything and you have your inspiration of what you want to do, that's when you'll go into creating your sketches. Now I'm not going to go through all of these sketches just because I have so many. I have notes on them, a bunch of information that you guys aren't going to want to see. It's like all my scribbling all over it. But I'm going to go into a few of the sketches just to show you guys. Basically, that is the next step, is sketches. So now, of course, I will be going more in depth as far as sketches. I definitely want to know, do you guys want me to go as far as showing you how to do the sketches, or just giving you ways of where you can create your sketches, especially for those of you that may not know how to draw? But basically, I create a sketch for every design, just a simple flat sketch. Now, like I said, I went to design school, so I had to learn how to do digital sketches, hand draw sketches, but you want something to resemble the item that you're trying to create. So like this one is just a puffer coat. Now, of course, you can put a description like I did, just so that way if maybe you don't know how to draw or you're still learning how to draw, and it may not portray exactly what it is you want, there's a description there so they can read it. But just keep in mind, for those of you that may be working with another country because you plan to import, there will be a language barrier. So the descriptions may not always work for them. They'll work off pictures and tech packs, which if you guys want to learn tech packs, again, I'll do a video on it. I don't know how in depth you guys are planning to go with this. Some of you may just use inspiration pictures and send it to a factory and see what they can do. But I put the description, the fabric type that I want to use, sizes that I want to create, and then all my color names. So I have the color options. But you'll want to create some type of sketch, have some type of picture to show them. And like I just mentioned, tech packs. If you're working with a factory that has been in the industry for a long time, they're going to want a tech pack because that tells them how to create the garment that you're looking for, literally step by step. But again, I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll have to break that down into a separate video. Some of you may not do tech packs. You may just send off a sample. You may send off pictures. Pictures is a little trickier because things can go wrong that way. But you may have to just work step by step and correct whatever is wrong based off of what they didn't do from your picture. Or maybe some of you don't want to start completely from scratch with the sketch and then creating a garment. Maybe you'll want to just take what's called blanks and add like your own graphics and logos. That's another option to create a collection too, which again, that's something I'll have to go through for you. So once you have all these sketches together, you'll want to present this to suppliers that you're interested in, which you'll want to source most likely at a sourcing show. So I literally just took this whole portfolio with me to the show and sat down with a few people that I was interested in. Once I found those few people I was interested in, I sent them the tech packs that I had put together, and I had to create it for every single design. And then that's when they come back to you with pricing. Pricing is going to be dependent on, of course, your fabric and design, but also your quantity, and then also where you're producing from. Is it going to be in the US or are you going to import? Which I'll do a video also on domestic versus importing, because there is a difference. But once you get your pricing, next you'll want to go into sampling, which I'll show you really quick some of the samples I got just based off of my sketches. So for example, this is one of the sketches I sent of a jumpsuit to a factory. I actually sent it to two. Two gave me pricing, but one was a lot quicker, even though her pricing was a little higher. I actually liked the way she worked better. So once she got that sketch, she also got the tech pack, which tech packs also include the sketches as well. And then this is the sample she sent. Now it normally comes with their sample tag in it, but I take them off and put my own tags on. But they'll send you the sample. Now the first sample, actually I'm not going to go in depth of that. Again, we'll do separate videos, so this is not too long. But then you'll get samples. Here's another one. which is just a set that I did. Was pants and a top, and then here was the original sketch that I did for it. So once you get your samples, you'll want to correct everything that might be wrong with it. If they did it where it's an actual fit sample, you'll want to correct the fit of the item. Sometimes that first sample is not. It's more so for you to see the fabric and the actual design and get a feel and idea for the design. But you'll want to figure out the fit of it. Once the fit is okay, you'll want to approve the sample. Now, before you go into any production, I recommend having some type of contract in place so that way there's some ground rules there, so that way if anything goes left, especially if you're working in another country like China, you want to have some type of contract or agreement in there to protect yourself and protect your money, because you're about to invest a lot of money into this that you could potentially lose out with. Once you have those contracts, you have your payment terms set up, and you're okay with the samples that you received, you can go into production. Now, while they're in production, I personally start doing my photo shoots too, because I already have samples. So I might as well go ahead and start shooting it, so that way I can start showing this off. I can take those samples to market meetings to promote the line that I've created, and then eventually you'll receive the goods and you can start selling. Of course, this is all in a nutshell. Like I said, I'll have to go through and break this down step by step, because I'm sure there is a lot that I'm missing in there. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions after me just doing the rundown. But I want to give a rundown for those of you that are ready to just start jumping into this, or that may already have an idea of what you want to do. That is basically the process that I went through. But of course, I also have a lot of tips and recommendations for you guys to basically learn from any mistakes that I may have made. Just some ways to save you guys some money, so that way you don't take a loss, because there's a lot of ways you can lose in this business. If there's any information or any questions you may have that you want to be sure that I cover in these videos, be sure to leave it down in the comments, because like I said, this is just a rundown. I didn't go in depth of everything, but I definitely will be breaking this down little by little. That's pretty much all I wanted to include in this video. Oh, the one thing that I did want to say to you guys, hopefully you didn't click off already, is that this whole design process usually takes about 3 months. It can be 3 to 6 depending on the supplier you're working with or where the product's coming from, import versus domestic. But give yourself at least 3 months. So if you're planning to drop like a line next week, that will be a little tough. You may want to go the direction of blanks and just adding like your logo and graphics to it. But if you're planning for like holiday or spring of next year, want to do a resort collection, this is the perfect timing to get started now, because you'll need at least 3 months, especially if you don't have that factory to produce this for you yet. But of course, if you already have the factory, you're definitely a jump ahead of everyone else. But that's it for this week. Next week, we'll start diving into this by breaking it down step by step. Thank you for watching.